It's a great way to invest in property without having to purchase and manage your own property. Welcome to another video by the Crystale Group. I'm Jasmine Chung, and this is Wealthy Wednesdays, your weekly guide to building wealth and obtaining financial freedom. In each episode, I'll be sharing strategies to help you increase your income, make smarter moves with your money, and build lasting wealth. In today's episode, I'll be covering investing in Jamaica, and I'll be going through everything, including what is an investment just generally, general investment terms, how you can start investing, and some of the best investments currently in Jamaica. So stay tuned. This episode will be for you if you're a beginner seeking knowledge, or if you're already experienced in investments and you just like to hear more about what's going on today in Jamaica. So let's start here. What is investing? Investing is putting your money into something with the expectation of it appreciating over time. You're essentially making your money work for you. So let's dive right into some common investment terms that you've probably heard before. Let's start with stocks. What are stocks? Stocks are shares in a company. Owning a stock means that you own a small piece of a company and receive profits when the company performs well. Let's look at bonds. What are bonds? A bond, simply put, is lending money to the government or a company in exchange for them paying you back with interest. It can be a bit safer than stocks, but it usually grows slower. Now, let's look at what a mutual fund is. A mutual fund is money pulled together from many investors, which is then used to buy a mix of investments like stocks and bonds, for example. The combined holding of the mutual fund is called a portfolio, and this is usually managed by a fund manager, which makes this kind of investment great for beginners who don't want to do all the work or don't have the time to do all the work themselves. And finally, let's look at unit trusts. What are unit trusts? Unit trusts allow you to buy units in the trust, which are pieces of an overall investment fund. It's pretty similar to a mutual fund, and it is also a great type of investment to diversify your portfolio without needing a lot of money. Now, let's look at some of the best investments currently in Jamaica. Let's start with the Jamaica Stock Exchange, something I know most of you are excited to hear about. The Jamaica Stock Exchange is one of the best performing in the world. How exciting! If you're going to trade or buy stocks directly through the Jamaica Stock Exchange, something to consider is the amount of time needed to do so, as well as the amount of knowledge and expertise you'd probably need to do this on your own. It's not just a random thing where you just pick random stocks because you probably just heard that they did well or something of the sort. I would suggest having some amount of in-depth understanding of investments before trying to do this yourself. If not, you'd probably have to hire a stockbroker to do this for you, and it can be a bit expensive if you're just starting out. So if you want to buy stocks directly on the stock market, consider the time, knowledge, and money needed to do this. Let's look at unit trusts and mutual funds. Unit trusts and mutual funds are offered by many financial institutions here in Jamaica. I would say that they're one of the best investments for beginners because they tend to have a lower risk. Of course, there's risk associated with every investment, but in my experience, they tend to have a lower risk. Why? Because it's professionally managed, as well as your investments is diversified across multiple assets. Now, let's look at government bonds. These are also safer investments where you lend money to the government and earn interest over time. Now, let's look at real estate investments, something I know a lot of you are excited to hear about. Real estate investments are solid long term, and my advice to anyone who is interested in investing in real estate and have the money to do so is If you can buy the investment property, go ahead and do it. It's going to work out well for you in the future. For example, rental income is a great source of passive income because, one, it's not taxed. I know a lot of us hate taxes in Jamaica, so that's a really good benefit of rental income, for example, as well as it can appreciate over time. The property for one appreciates, as well as your rent can legally grow over time. You can increase it from time to time. We're allowed within the laws. Short-term rentals can also be lucrative, even though they have their challenges. But just considering that Jamaica is a tourist destination, this is something that is a great investment because it's something that will be there in the future. If you don't have the funds to purchase an investment property, or you don't have the ability to access a mortgage, then real estate investment units can be a great investment for those looking into getting into real estate investments. It's a great way to invest in property without having to purchase and manage your own property. And of course, it's another fun type investment which is professionally managed, and generally a lower risk has been associated with this type of investment. But of course, like I've said, all investments have risk attached. Always remember that. I did some research just from the everyday person who does investments in any way at all, just to hear their feedback so I can let you guys on my channel hear from real people with real experiences, not just a financial advisor sharing their opinions, myself of course, or your general advisor say just possibly trying to sell you something, like you guys always say. So I'm going to share some clips from people that I've talked to who have shared their experience with me. So the next clip will just be a voice message that I received from someone that I asked what investments they would say is best in their experience, as well as what their opinions are on investing.
So just a quick share for me. So I have an investment account with JMMB, and it's through JMMB I buy my first another card investment, and it was a US dollar investment, a minimum of $1,000 to start, and I was getting between 2 and 5% per annum minus fees. All right, so that was a slow, steady investment, which I never maintain, because really and truly, if I had just continually put a small amount of money, maybe like a $50 US, $100 US every month, compound interest would have worked up until now. So that's one. Two, went into stock investment. The first stock I bought was actually a preference share. So a preference share, essentially, when you buy it, you get a percentage of the amount that you buy per quarter or per year, whatever. So I get a little money in time, and then I start buy stocks that provide a dividend. I was working at Grace at the time. Grace is a stock that provides dividend. Kingston Wharves, Seprod, they were all giving dividends. And then I start actively trading on the stock market. Um, Read financial statements, make decisions in terms of buy stocks when it reach a certain level, me sell it, take profits, and all of that. Did really get into the stock market. Yeah, I really got the whole knowledge of investing and buying my own stocks also when I did my MBA and learned about financial statements, profit and loss statements, balance sheet, and what all of that mean, and could I make more educated guess based on the trajectory of the business, based on the information that was on the statements, etc. Um, me personally would advise be careful. Take investment from investment advisors and then make your own decisions based on what you want. But slow and steady typically almost always works. If you can find an investment where you feel safe with, and you put a little money away every month, and you don't draw from it at any time, you just live a life normally, then that would be the best way. And as you did say in your video, always find ways to increase income.
For the next person, let's read the message he sent to me right here. So he said, TJH gave me excellent returns. TJH stands for Trans Jamaica Highway for those who aren't sure. Dollar Financial and Mailpack. He also said, I mostly invest at IPOs that ban companies that are already on the market. So IPO stand for initial public offering. This is when a company is just listing themselves on the market and they're giving the first offering of investments, basically. He also said, I held Dollar Financial and Mailpack for the short term, but he said that he got pretty decent returns from them, even in holding those stocks in the short term. So I also proceeded to ask him if these are individual stocks that he invested in himself and what's the average return on interest that he received. And he said he hasn't checked the latest report to tell the yield returns, and he doesn't remember right now, but it was a good return. And also said, I only have Trans Jamaica Highway currently, and it is more than triple my investments if I am to cash out right now. Now I'm going to read another message from someone who has experience in stock investments specifically. And this person said, NCB was definitely my best stock in my 15 years of investing. Wow. And he also said, GK also did pretty good for me. GK stands for Grace Kennedy, of course, and NCB is the National Commercial Bank. And I'd like to share my experience with an insurance policy that I purchased years ago, which is the Guardian Investor Plus. It has yielded pretty decent and steady returns for me. And I would say it's pretty good for someone who is looking more for a long-term investment. And of course, it's better used by not touching the funds, but I've personally used it for an emergency fund and it worked out well for me. But it's great for long-term investors. I'm just sharing this with you as a client who has bought this policy. Another good thing about that policy is that it's only 6,000 Jamaican dollars monthly to start. So that's the minimum monthly fee to maintain the policy. And the management or broker fees on the policy is not that high. But of course, if you're looking to get decent returns, the minimum 6,000 isn't necessarily what I would put myself. So I'm going to share that advice. It's not the best amount to just put, but if it's all you have, there's nothing wrong with that, of course. But what I've done is whenever I have extra cash, I just do a lump sum deposit to it, and it helps me to buy more units into the investment, which helps me to have more to actually grow on. How can you invest in Jamaica? What I would suggest for stocks specifically is to visit the Jamaica Stock Exchange's website and just research their registered stockbrokers. Be very diligent when doing this. So, in order to be diligent, I would say visit their website to verify that you're investing with a real broker. Personally, for stocks, I've used the NCB Capital Markets app, and it's pretty easy to use. All you have to do is download the app, sign up, and then NCB will communicate with you via email to send you the necessary documents or advise you on the steps necessary if you'd like to sign them in branch, so you can be able to purchase stocks through their platform. For unit trust type investments and mutual funds, I would suggest speaking to a financial advisor. And if you don't have a financial advisor already, I am a licensed financial advisor in Jamaica, and I'm always ready to assist people who are interested in general investment knowledge or just financial knowledge in general, because I'm very detailed with my clients. So if you'd like to book a consultation with me, the details are written in the description of this video. Thank you for joining, and if you've made it to the end of this video, please comment investment 2025 so I know who is watching and listening. And of course, as previously mentioned, for consultations, my details are listed below. And Also, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comment sections because I would love to hear from you. Let's start a conversation and let's get to have the right financial mindset for 2025 and beyond. I'm Jasmine Chung, and this is the Crystale Group Wealth Solutions Wealthy Wednesdays. Thank you for watching.